If you own a home or you want to, then you should be watching this video to see how you can save some money on your home and then some. And we'll see how quarter 1 of 2026 has been to the real estate market locally. Hey, everybody, Tim Veigle here, Watson Realty. Happy to have you along. And today we're going to do a recap of everything going on from quarter 1 of this year locally here in the Central Florida area. So you can see what the numbers are, have an idea of how this is going to impact you and your investment or your future investment. So let me share my lovely PowerPoint. All right, here is my PowerPoint, and let's go ahead and get rolling on this one. So this is your quarter 1 review. Like I mentioned before, Tim Veigle here, Watson Realty. I'm out here wheeling and dealing in the real estate market. I got my fingers on the pulse and I know what's going on, and I'm here to share it with you. So what are we reviewing today? So we're going to look a little bit at the local real estate market so that you have a better idea of the ups and downs in the market compared year over year for some cities, as well as looking at what quarter 1 looked like for some of the local counties here that you might live in. Now, this is a caveat, we're going off of medians. This is not going to be cookie cutter to where it'll fit your scenario. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can go ahead and see how you fit into the scenario, because this is just giving you an idea where the market's at. We're also going to look at the mortgage market. So everyone's talking about how the rates are horrible. Let's see how bad they really are. And then, of course, we're going to see what could be expected coming into the second quarter of 2026. So, Casselberry is quietly becoming one of the most investor-friendly markets in Central Florida, and most people are sleeping on it. So, here's some data for you. So, looking at Casselberry year over year, so in 2026, they sold 82 homes, which is a slight decrease from 2025, but overall it's only a 3 home decrease. So it's pretty much staying flat. It's still about the same on there. You do see a larger decrease when it comes to condos. Townhomes are staying about the same, but the single family homes are also staying about the same. In fact, they've increased by 1. Now let's look at the median sold price, $8,500 increase year over year. So the market is going up, which not surprised. Castleberry has put a lot of money into their infrastructure, a lot of money into their parks recently. It's becoming a really family-oriented place to live. So if you're looking to raise a family, you can. And more importantly, it's one of the more affordable homes in Seminole County. So it's really a win-win. It's a great place. Days on the market, so it increased by about 9 days, up to 43 from 34 a year ago. And then the median rent is 1995, which is a decrease of about $5 a month compared to last year, which was $2,000. Now, looking as of when this PowerPoint was created today, you have 23 active condos on the market. You have 10 active townhouses, 33 active single family homes. So not a lot of active homes on there. And when you really look at Casper, part of the reason why there's not that many that sell is because there's not a lot of residential homes in Casper limits. In fact, looking at it, they have it's probably about a 60-ish, 40-ish split between residential and commercial, maybe a little bit higher on the commercial side than that. But depending on what happens with property appraiser and property taxes later on, that's going to be very positive for the city because they're not going to be impacted as much with the loss of income that could be coming down later this year. Now, some Castleberry takeaways is overall the market is healthy and it's slightly increasing. So it's steady, it's very stable over here. Um, it's going up. It's very popular for people wanting to live in. Uh, One other thing to point out is it's high condo market. There's a lot of condos within Castleberry, and if you look at it, it's got about a 3 to 4 month supply. Condo markets definitely struggle to sell. They're extremely tough, and we're seeing those challenges. And then when it comes to an investor, right now, just looking at the median rent to the median sales price, it's about 6.4%. So therefore, if you buy a home in Casselberry, there's a good chance that your ROI on your investment will be 6.4% for the year. You got a 50% chance of that happening. Now, with that said, when you buy it, there's certain things you can do to make it where you're actually going to get more up to the 1%er and become a 10% return, something very favorable for you as an investor. But still starting out at 6.4% before you can find that home is good. So it's very stable market. All right. And then, if you're thinking about investing or buying in Casselberry, drop a comment below. Let me know. I'd love to walk you through the numbers and see how it fits your future family plans. Now, let's move on over to Oviedo. So Oviedo saw a price drop of about $55,000 year over year, and homes sitting on the market for 27 days longer. Is it a red flag or a rare buying window for you, the home buyer? Let's dig in. So looking at Oviedo, so year over year, decrease of about 37 homes sold. 7 condos have sold so far this year, 20 townhomes, which is slightly off from the 35, and then 116 single family homes. Now the median sold price has dropped $55,000 from 5.25 to 470. So there's a lot of great opportunities for buyers in this market. And then 27-day increase from days on market from 22 to 49 days year over year. The median rent has dropped by $107 a month. So that's $23.95 a median versus $22.88. So, or my bad on the drop, I meant increased. So people are still wanting to live in Oviedo. Why not? It's one of the top school districts in one of the top school districts in the state. So Seminole County is one of the best ones, and Oviedo is that crown jewel in Seminole County. So now let's go ahead and look at this. You got about 8 active condos right now, 41 active townhomes, and 125 active single family homes in Oviedo currently. Now, in Oviedo, you are seeing a price shifting slightly. So doesn't mean that you don't have the higher end homes in there, but you are shifting down slightly. And a lot of it's just because everyone's selling the Oviedo charm, but the buyers are a little more negotiable for the Oviedo charm, and that's causing a shift in prices. So buyers are definitely hesitant in the Oviedo market with the decrease in the amount of homes being sold. People are constantly looking in Oviedo, but not everyone's pulling the trigger. One of the ways that you fix that is by fixing the price up front. And if the home's priced right in Oviedo, you can still get multiple offers. You can go fast. But now if you're shooting your shot for a higher overpriced home, buyers are not falling for that right now. They'll sit and wait on the sidelines until it becomes more reasonable. Still also a solid investor market based off median rentals, 6.11%. Plus those homes are still going up. So buyers are not running to buy priced homes too high in the Oviedo market. But if they're not wanting to buy it, they're still wanting to rent it in the area, and it's causing those rental prices to go up in Oviedo. So if Oviedo's on your radar, now may be the time to have the serious conversation. So text or call me. Let's strategize before QT heats up, and let's see if we get you into Oviedo if that's the home area that you're looking for. All right, moving on to our friends in Winter Springs. So between supply and demand, this tells a very interesting story for anyone watching this market. So Winter Springs is definitely working on getting popping off. So let's see where you want to fall. So year over year, the amount of homes that sold decreased by about 25. Townhomes are 32, condos were 2, and single family homes were 80 so far for, well, not so far, for Q1. Median sold price, though, increased by about $5,000 to 425 from 420. So the price point is kind of, last year was kind of coming down a little bit. Now it's kind of stabled off and it's kind of flatlining a little bit and still good, starting to trend up, which is a healthy one. $5,000 year over year. You're talking about just a little over a 1% increase, which is not horrible and is kind of healthy. We've just been spoiled with the 10% increase year over year. Now, days on market, 38 days, an increase of 3 days. So not a crazy increase. It's still a very popular place. And then when you look at rentals, the rental price actually went down by $200 per month. So looking at the current actives, 13 actives in Winter Springs for condos, 35 active townhomes, and 90 active single family homes. So as a buyer, you have options. So price is steady and slightly increasing. So this is what we call a balanced market, which is usually a more healthy real estate market. Buyers are still cautious and not eating up the inventory, but trust me, based off the exposure I'm seeing online, they're still looking at the homes. It's a little less investor friendly, but it's not horrible at 5.65%. The right investor can look, make the right changes, and they can easily get up into that 8% range, 9%, and even 10%. Now, one key takeaway though for any of the markets that we talk about, Winter Springs, no matter what, buyers in this market are savvy. They're not going to come in and they're not going to give the seller everything that they want. They'll be reasonable, but they're not going to say, seller, what price do you want? And the seller can use their magic 8 ball and come up with a price. Not happening. This ain't 2020, this ain't 2021, this is 2026. So the buyers are going to come in, they're going to negotiate on the price. The seller's either going to accept or deny. You got to pay attention to the market. As a seller, what's your goal? Do you want to sell your neighbor's home or do you want to sell your home? That's a question you have to ask and answer to yourself truthfully. All right, moving on to Winter Park. So the Winter Park median price dropped about $25,000 from last year. If you've been priced out of this market before, you might want to pay close attention to what I'm about to show you. You ready? Let's check it out. So in Winter Park, they had 213 homes sold, which is a decrease of 24 homes year over year for the quarter. 40 condos so far in Q1, 18 townhomes, 152 single family homes. Now the median sales price has dropped from $495 to $470,000. So it is a $25,000 price drop, which is about 5% drop, give or take. So it is dropping. It is dropping a little faster than what we're seeing as a norm of about 1-2% drop, but it's not horrible, especially if you're looking for that Winter Park zip code, and you want to be in those areas. Days on market did increase by about 5 days. And because Winter Park is still such a popular area, it is up about $200 per month. So currently we have about 87 active condos, 25 active homes, and 186 active single family homes. So now here are some of the takeaways. We are seeing the price decrease. You'll probably see a little more decrease this year, but I don't see anything of a crash that you constantly will see in the media. Available inventory is definitely slowing up. ROA investment, though, is still a little solid at the 5.8%. And with the decrease in price and the increase in rental price, that's only rising. So, which is definitely investor friendly for you. Winter Park is shifting in a buyer's favor right now. But that window is not going to stay. People love Winter Park, they're going to eat it up. And when they get pushed to get off the sidelines, it's going to become a feeding frenzy. So, as a buyer, if you're interested in Winter Park, the real question is, what are you waiting for? Now's the time. Step up. Let's go find that home. Let me know. All right, now let's look at some of the counties. So we cover some of the local municipality areas from Winter Park, Oviedo, Casselberry, and even Winter Springs. Now let's go ahead and dive into the counties. So zooming out the county level gives you a full picture. So let's see what's going on for everyone that's in the different counties. And some of those numbers across Orange, Seminole, Lake, and Volusia might just surprise you a little bit. So first up, we got Orange County Q1, 406 condos sold with a median sales price of $189,650. Townhomes, 477 sold for a median sales price of $381,990. Single family homes, you have 2,475 homes sold at a $490,000 price tag. Now moving over to Seminole County, 122 condos sold for $170,000. Townhomes, 160 sold for $324,000. And single family homes, 859 sold for $450,000. Now let's head out to more rural areas. Let's look at Lake County. 21 condos sold for $195,000. 85 townhomes sold for $330,000. And single family, 1,540 homes sold for $375,895. Now out in Volusia County, you have 204 condos are sold at $355,500. 88 townhomes sold for $279,950, and single family home 1,459 have sold at a median sales price of $350,000. So looking at these counties gives you an idea of what the medians are in each of those counties. If you live in one of these counties and you're curious about selling your home, just because this is the median doesn't mean that's the price that your home will sell for. This is taking the entire county. Look at Clay County, for example. It's broken up into many different pockets, and you really got to dive into that micro market to understand the pricing and what's going on locally. So if you are interested, reach out to me, let me know, and we could dive into it a little bit. So now, mortgages. What do we know about mortgages? Well, according to the news, the mortgage is horrible. Everyone's going to die. But that's not necessarily the real case. So let's go ahead and take a look at these mortgage rates. So what I did was look at what the mortgage rate was the last day of each month to give us an idea. And I highlighted in green which one was lower than the before. And as you can tell, looking at this from 2025 to 2026, something stands out. 2026 quarter, we are typically lower than every single one in 2025. In fact, we are significantly lower. Now, with that being said, we did go down pretty low in February, and then we spiked up pretty fast. So, which is pushing some buyers off to the market. But what I can also tell you is things were heating up in January and February. And now that things might be settling down a little bit, if those numbers go down, we're going to start heating up again. So it could mean that we're going to have a longer summer selling season. And you, as a buyer, have two options. Sit on the sideline, hoping that the market gets better rates for you, and then bite when they get better rates, which if you're doing that, guess what? So is everyone that's out there doing that right now that you don't even know about. And in turns, doing so means you're going to end up looking at a home and having to get into a bidding war with others. Then there's the other option. connect with me. Let's have a meeting. Let's talk about this. Let's see what it is. You know, we'll have an open, honest conversation, see if now is the right time for you to buy or sell. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. We can work on getting you prepared. But if you want to build wealth, especially generational wealth for your family, it all starts with that first home. And it can be challenging. There can be ups and downs, but having that conversation, we can find a way to go around it and figure it out so that we can help you. So there's options out there. And, if there's something that you want to do, we could talk and see what that looks like and find out how we can make it work. So some takeaways, people always say, I'm waiting for the rates to come down. Well, based off that last page, the rates have come down significantly, and they're going to go back even lower probably based off how we started the year. I do still see the rates are going to fluctuate, and the media is going to be hanging on every turn of those rates. But that's why you don't get your sources from the media. That's why you have meetings and sit down and talk with me. Let's find out a way. You have a goal of home ownership. Let's get you a home. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So let's talk about the future of real estate for this quarter. So in quarter two, I think that we're going to, similar to quarter one, we're going to have a lot of ups and downs. I think the rates will continue to stabilize the way we saw in February and January. I think we will have less spikes, and it'll definitely move back towards the lower sixes. And personally, if I was a buyer in the market right now, I'd be excited because the opportunity for home ownership is there. The only reason that it won't happen is if you don't explore it. So right now it's prime for the taking. So it's time to go out there and take. If you want to own a home, let's find one. Okay. I remember when I started in real estate, I had a real estate coach that told me that you will be successful in real estate if you are able to solve the challenges. And there's a lot of challenges that can happen in real estate. So, and I've talked to many people that'll say things, and I've heard other realtors talk to the same people and shy against these things because it is what it is. It is a challenge. It's a headache. It's not easy. It's not for the weak at heart. However, if you can overcome those challenges and find a way, sellers and buyers are always happier in the end, even though they might be stressed during the process. So, and that's kind of what I dedicated myself to, is finding ways to overcome those challenges. There's not a challenge too big. There's not a challenge I'll shy away from. So let's go figure it out and let's get you into a home in 2026 or upgrade or downgrade homes depending on what's best for your life. So if you want to connect with me, my email, my phone number is on the side. I would love to hear from you. You can also use this QR code to connect with me and check it out. I've been doing real estate for quite some time. I know a lot about local areas. I do a lot of research on local areas. I understand personalities of the real estate transaction. And more importantly, I overcome the challenges that some will shy away from. So let's connect. Let's make it happen. And let's find you a home. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And again, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to talk to you to see out which scenario works best for you. Toodles.